Hello everyone, and welcome to the Tarot with Titania reading for the week for September 10th to the 17th. I hope you're all well. As you can tell probably from my voice, I am at the tail end of a cold. Change of the season often does this to me. I wonder if it does that to you as well. No one feels like a leper these days if one is unwell, unfortunately. Shall we get started? I invite you to take 3 nice deep breaths. Close your eyes and pull your beautiful self into this present moment. Just letting go of anything that's been hassling you, nagging you, pulling at the edges of your consciousness. Anything that's been distracting you from your wisdom, from your presence. Even put your hand on your heart. Just feel yourself in your body, in your now. Knowing that all is well in this moment. Imagine a nice tree root coming out of the base of your spine, taking it down into Mother Earth, anchoring you deep, deep, deep into Mother Earth. And knowing that that tree root is not only an anchor that connects you to our Mother, but it's also a conduit through which anything that no longer serves you can easily pass down into Mother Earth and become compost for new growth. Creator, this is your daughter Titania, and I am here with all of your children who are most wanting to understand these crazy times that we're living through right now. I ask that you be with all of us. Open our hearts and our minds, our wisdom, all aspects of us so that we can show up fully and well and present, bringing all that we are to life at this time and being a boost to the collective consciousness in a good way for the highest and greatest good. Bridging the divide, creating healing and love wherever we go. My intention is to be a clear channel for the information that we most need to receive right now, and to provide that in a manner that will be easily and effortlessly heard, understood, and integrated for the highest and greatest well-being of everyone listening on this call, now and in the future. I'd like to call upon my higher self and the higher selves of all those listening, as well as an overlighting angel of communication, to facilitate this exchange and ensure that it happens in the highest and best way possible in the time that we have, addressing that which is in our collective heart and mind, which is asking to be answered, for our greater peace, our greater wisdom, and our greater empowerment. I'd also like to invite the Four Archangels to come and hold the 4 directions around us, creating a sacred container of light, of love, of healing, of wisdom, of transformation, of peace, of all that is in our collective heart and mind, that it be held and recognized and brought forward in a good way. I invite Raphael to hold the east, Michael to hold the south, Gabriel to hold the west, and Uriel to hold the north. Thank you for coming and bringing your wonderful energies and creating this sacred container across time and space, uniting us all. Anything that doesn't match the frequencies of love, of light, of wisdom, of clarity, of empowerment, of healing, of transformation is welcome to go now. Let's get started, shall we? So I don't know about you guys, but I've had a pretty intense week. Astrologically, there's a lot going on for anybody who follows that kind of stuff. As I said, I'm not an astrologer, but I highly recommend the work of Pam Gregory. She has become a regular resource in my life. PamGregory.com is her website, but you can find her on YouTube as well if you just Google her name. And we have a lot of planets in retrograde, and Mercury is going retrograde a little later this month. So you might want to get things wrapped up that need to be wrapped up. And in terms of contracts and beginning things, it's better to do that before we go into Mercury retrograde. If it is in Mercury retrograde, just make sure you are really reading all the details, and dotting your I's and crossing your T's. Okay, that information aside. Our intention with this reading is to find out what it is that we most need to know right now so that we can be of greatest service, we can be at our most peaceful and powerful and centered, and receptive to the role that life wants us to play, and hear the guidance clearly and well, and be able to apply it in good ways. So encompassing all of that intention, Creator, what is it that we need to know? And I think I'm going to do a past, present, future reading today. That sort of feels like what needs to be addressed. And we'll go from there. So past, present, future, and our foundation card. The foundation card, as you all know, is why we have the reading, right? So it's kind of important to just sort of identify the overall energy of the time that we're in. Start with recent past. The King of Pentacles. Pentacles is the earth element. It's practical, it's money. And the King of Pentacles is a very practical individual indeed. Masculine of the Pentacles and the embodied energy of that. But even with that sort of practical thing, I just want to draw your attention to the fact that there's a rose here and a rose here. And there's all these like rays of flowers. And so there's still this very sort of appreciation for the feminine. Venus rules Taurus, which is one of the signs, one of the earth signs that's associated with Pentacles. And I always think of Taurus when I look at this sign, or I often do, because of the qualities. So Taurians are very aesthetic. They really appreciate the finer and beautiful things in life. They appreciate quality. They appreciate all of that. And it feels important in this card today. This idea of coming from a place of beauty, coming from a place of appreciation, coming from a place of really distinguishing that which is working and supporting it and recognizing it and integrating that into one's resilience. So the King of Pentacles is a very wise and practical individual. The King of Pentacles understands his people in his domain, and he is very good at putting people and resources together to create wins for everybody. But as I said, it's that masculine energy because it's the king, it's not the queen. So it's this very sort of practical, linear, I would even say, and one step after another. So this is the energy we're coming from, this understanding that the earth element needs our appreciation, needs our understanding. We need to kind of go slow, be practical, have plans, work the plans, and see about leveraging our resources in good ways. You know, coming together with others or bringing others together. I mean, I know it's tricky at this time still, right? It's still difficult to even if it's just psychological, get together with other people. But this idea of how do we live well in our earthly experience, and how do we do it well? How do we enjoy it well? How do we do the work we need to do well? How do we organize our homes well? It's very, as I said, it's very three-dimensional in a sense. It's sort of very much this practical, wise use of resources and one's environment and making it good for yourself and for those you share it with. And again, just being a good participant on the planet in a good way, a responsible citizen, if you want to say that. And, you know, and that's our state of mind as well. You know, this isn't a sword, but this speaks to us being good citizens. You know, it's important for us to take care of ourselves, to take care of our resources, to tidy up our house front. And again, it's this idea of just savoring the beauty, of being in the beauty, of making life more beautiful because we've been there. That's the energy of this card today. Okay. And always from a place of love. That's what all of that feminine or floral energy represents in this card. It's the card of love and that feminine quality. And it's not that the masculine can't be loving. That's not what I'm saying. But there's that open-hearted quality that is typically very feminine that is being evoked as well in this card, despite it being very masculine. Okay, our present card, the Prince of Swords. Swords, ideas, and action, like we were just saying. And this means things changing very quickly on the level of the mind. It means new information coming in situations changing rapidly, and being able to just be resilient enough and adaptable enough to just kind of, I'm not going to say go with it, because that would imply leaving your center. What this card is speaking of is being in our center. We are the most creative and generative when we are in our hearts and in our bodies, and we are here and present. Any creative person will tell you that their creative flow comes from being right here, right now. So I don't want you to go chasing ideas. That's not what I'm saying here. But I want you to be aware of the changes that are happening on the level of the mind in our collective consciousness. Radical transformative energy. And as these changes come, what I'm asking you to do is drop into your body, be here now, keep appreciating beauty, because this might be disruptive. These ideas, I'm really grabbed by the vision of the dove here at the bottom, which is the symbol for peace and well-being. But it may be that some of these ideas are disruptive. And so putting your hand on your heart, dropping back into your body, taking that deep breath, using those tools to just stay present right here, right now. Regardless of whatever story is happening out there, we have to be right here, right now. It's very important. And so, as I said, this is sort of preparation for radical changes on the level of ideas, on the level of things happening. And just to be prepared with that from a mental space, or just realizing that may be what's going on. And so as it goes on, our work again is to come back here, be here now, be in our bodies, be here now, and observe it, observe how we react, and observe what's happening in the outer world, and staying as neutral and observant as possible. And when we have feelings, just recognize, as we will, because we're human, just paying attention to that, not in an attached way, but just recognizing that that's important, that flow of energy and emotion has to come through our field to be cleared. We've talked about a lot of all of these different things. So those of you who've been showing up regularly will know what I'm talking about. But this idea that part of the transformation that's happening for humanity right now has to do with us feeling. And the feeling is being evoked by the contrast that's going on outside of us. And the contrast helps us to distinguish what we prefer. It's the most powerful tool that we have to know what we prefer. And then we know where to be putting our energies and our attention. So that's why stuff happens on the planet, to provide us with contrast. Then we know what we want, and we go in the direction of what we want, rather than wallowing in what we don't want and shouting no at it. That's the trick. We're human. We do tend to get stuck on shouting no at things. And that's happening a lot for all of us. But the good thing is, when we distinguish this, we can take that deep breath, drop into our body, ask ourselves, what is it that I prefer here? And then give ourselves permission to move in the direction of that. It's very powerful. Okay, in your future, card of ruin, 10 of swords. Please don't be freaked out because it looks like a heavy card. Doesn't mean that you won't be able to navigate whatever comes your way, because we are incredibly resilient as human beings, and we chose to be here at this time. Okay, so the Ruin card. What I want to draw your attention to is, despite the fact that this seems very dramatic and uncertain, we have a child here. We don't know what's wrong with the child, but it's deeply concerning. And we have this woman who's bent over the child, and she's very focused on that child, despite the fact that there's all this incoming energy, all this disruptive energy coming in from everywhere else. She has the higher energy coming through her. So that bolt of lightning coming from the sky and coming into her heart chakra is her higher, broader self, the broader wisdom. It's sort of, she's being energized from a higher level. And that's coming in through her heart. And as a result, she's able to disregard these spikes coming towards her, because she knows they can't touch her when she is focused on what she needs to be doing. So she is single-minded and very focused on that child and giving it the support and the care that it needs. And she's, as I said, that single-mindedness, or that really deep focus of, where is my energy best used right now for my greatest good and the greatest good of those around me and this beautiful planet. Coming back to asking ourselves that, where do I need to be putting my attention and my focus and my energy right now for the greatest good? So this near future card is this energy of intensity. Yes, things are intense on this planet. Yes, that intensity is going up. And do you know why? Because it's lighting things up for us that need to be healed. It's lighting up our stories, our triggers, our inadequacies, whatever it is that's in our collective, in our personal and collective heart and mind is being triggered so that we can heal it, so that the light shines on it, we can become aware of it, and we can address it. We can complete it, we can heal it. So that dial, as I said, for this foreseeable future, and of course astrologers are talking about this right now, 5 planets retrograde and very intense opposition planets in opposition. There's a lot of polarity right now, and there's a lot of freedom versus control that's going on very strongly right now. And so we need to be prepared to be adaptable, not to get hooked in to the stories out there, but to stay as centered as possible, as present as possible in our life right here, right now. And understand that as that dial comes up, it's going to bring up stuff for us. Whether that's fear, whether that's anger, whether that's despondency, depression, whether that's those are the big ones. Anxiety, all of those pieces are surfacing for us in different ways. Some of us are good, and thank you for that, because you're balancing the rest of us. We're all a collective field, so you being in a good place is wicked, so stay there to the best of your ability and milk it. For those of us who've been having intense times and intense emotions, just realize that this is part of our awakening process. It's part of us cleaning up what's in our field. So that dial's going up, the pressure's pushing us. We're having experiences of emotion surface. As a result of that, we need to look at that. And just not in a critical or a negative way, but just recognize that we're human. We're going to have these experiences. We're going to have these feelings because that's what we do in a human body. But what is it telling us? What story are we running that isn't serving us? Because when we get clear and free of that, we're in a much more resilient and effective place to be with life and with what life brings to us. But that's part of why things are intense right now. It's this perfect design that is pushing us to grow. And it's just manifesting in the strange ways that we're seeing on the planet. So from that higher perspective, remember that when you're finding it difficult and you're feeling strong emotions, just again, deep breath, hand over the heart, drop into your body, breathe through it, know that it won't be forever, and that emotion is just moving through you to be healed, to be released, but also for you to distinguish what you prefer. It's serving us on so many levels. It really is quite wonderful. Okay, I'm going to move on. Foundation card, why we're having the reading this week. And we have that jaunty Prince of Hearts again. Riding around, waving his heart. Hey everybody, let's have a party. The Prince of Hearts he's a knight. So this, just like the swords here, the Prince of Swords. So knights in other decks, in my deck, they're princes. I don't know why, but it's just the way it is. So knights go charging in and charging out. That means there's a lot of movement of energy on these levels. And this foundation card is telling us that there's a lot of movement on the level of our heart, a lot of movement on the level of our emotions, and that it's important. It's important. It's the foundation card. It's what we need to be paying attention to right now. This idea that we are going to be having a lot of emotion, that these emotions are going to be surfacing, and it's okay. It's okay. Make friends with them. As I said, right? He's a friendly dude, this Prince of Pentacles. He wants everybody to be friends and have a good time. So make friends with your emotions as they come up. You don't have to hold on to them. You don't have to, It's like you just need to be present, recognize you're having those emotions, don't attach to them because they're just coming through you. They're like the clouds moving across your sky. They are just coming through you to be expressed, and it's perfect. And you get to choose how you're going to express it, and hopefully you'll do that in wise and grounded ways and mature and appropriate ways. Scream into a pillow if you need to. Beat a pillow up if you need to. go for a walk. But this idea that we need to be mindful of the importance of this emotional piece. It's very, very important. The emotions are going to come, they're going to move through us and be released through our fields, our human body fields. That's how the collective is healing. That's how we're doing it, is through this. So it may not be comfortable, but we have the support we need, supporting us and being present to what needs to be attended to, where we need to be putting our attention, and we can move through this with grace if we allow ourselves to. If we get resistant, if we clutch those emotions and hold on, it's going to be a rockier ride. It's not going to be as comfortable. And as I said, these emotions are coming up and they're helping to give us cues about where we're stuck still within ourselves. We need to heal those stuck areas. We need to release those stuck areas, because that's what we're here to do. And we're growing, we're expanding, we're becoming more than what we've been as humanity. We are evolving to a higher level, and that means clearing away the gunk, clearing away the garbage. And that's what this is telling us about. So do be mindful. Yes, things are going to go up. The intensity is going to go up. But as I said, it's serving us. This isn't a punishment. This isn't here to make you wrong. This isn't here to make you suffer. It is an opportunity. It's very important that you see it that way. It is an opportunity for you to see where you are still wounded and to do the healing work necessary to transform that and move yourself powerfully into more life and light, released from that heaviness and that suffering. And we do that through our feelings. So as I said, it's, not comfortable, but at least if we're aware of it, we can make the best use of this energy for our personal and our greater good. We can be kinder to each other, understanding that we are all going through this. We are all going through some version or iteration of this. Being nice is a way to go, helping each other through this, through our kindness, through our compassion, through our open-heartedness. It's not about making people wrong, because we're all struggling, and it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. We are, because it's our destiny as humanity. We are evolving, and we got to run the gauntlet though. Squeeze, the squeeze. It's like the baby in the birth canal. As it's coming down the birth canal, it's squeezed. And the importance of that squeeze is to prepare the lungs to take that first breath of air. And we're kind of doing the same thing. We're feeling that squeeze so that as we come through this, we'll be able to take that free, deep, open breath. It grounds us in our body, makes us present, and that enables us to be the best version that we can be in our here and now. Okay, so I think that's pretty clear about where we are. Letting that grounding in the appreciation of the material, letting beauty soothe us, letting nature soothe us, using that as our grounding as we move through these difficult times. Nature is so incredibly helpful. It brings us back. We're from nature. We are made of nature. So spending time in nature is so powerful for helping us facilitate this movement of the emotions through our field, our body field, so that we can just keep them circulating, get them moving, and help the collective move on. And this single-minded focus in the near future, yes, the intensity, but realize that you are here for a reason. You've chosen to be here. You are a unique expression of the life force at this time. You have your own talents, your own abilities. How are you here to contribute? And maybe ask that question if you don't know. Ask the higher, broader, wiser part of you, how am I here to contribute? What do I need to be doing? And pull that in towards you. Pull the answer towards you. And, if you're not entirely comfortable with the answer, well, sometimes the first time we hear something, it's not comfortable. But the more we hear it, the more it drops into us, and we understand that it's appropriate and true for us. And then we can move in that direction. But by starting the conversation, you're moving yourself forward, which is brilliant. And change. Things moving a lot on the levels of ideas and action in our present. And that can be disruptive, that disruptive energy, which is causing this disruption in the emotional body. But as I said, that's our way through. And we have to keep that in mind. Okay, I'm going to pull our card to grow on now, because we could probably just chit-chat about all this all day, and I know you have things to do, as do I. Much as I love being here with you all. All right, our card to grow on. Creator, if we are to summarize what is most important for us to know this week as we move forward, a card that we can carry in our hearts and minds to remind us of the bigger picture, of the broader wisdom, of how we can be in every moment in a way that serves us and serves others and serves life in a beautiful and good way. We're always being guided in every moment. And we know that through our preferences. Our preferences are the guidance system. That inner compass I've talked about before. So pay attention to those. As we keep going forward, it's always very important to keep moving in the direction of your preferences. Okay, so our card to grow on this week is... Wasn't this our card to grow on last week? I'm going to have to go look, but that seems familiar to me. The card of Force. And I really like this card. You all know, you guys who've been here for a long time, you know I'm a gardener, and I think about this card as a pruning card. So if it was the card we had last week, and if it's this card this week, this idea of pruning is big. This idea of persistently pruning ourselves, pruning our thoughts, pruning our minds, pruning our hearts, pruning our lives, getting rid of anything that's extraneous, anything that is not serving us. There's no point in putting your energy and attention in a direction that is not bringing you to more life, that is not bringing you to more wisdom and more generative understanding in your experience. So this idea of pruning, it's like simplify your life where you can so that your energy is freed up so that you can do the good work you're here to do. We want to always prune. When you're pruning a shrub or a tree that's overgrown, you always start with the dead, diseased, and crossing branches. Those are the things that are clearly compromising the life of the plant. So if we bring this into our lives, what dead, diseased, and crossing things are in your world? And how can you prune them out so that you have better flow? And then, once you've taken care of those pieces, you look at the structure of the plant and you decide how to support its growth in a beautiful way that allows as much light and air to circulate through the plant so that it promotes health for the plant and well-being, and so that the plant can continue to grow in ways so it reduces the crossing of the branches, for instance, and it ensures that there will be no disease because of the light and air circulating through the plant. And again, that removal of the dead and the old, of the stuck, of that which was but is no longer in one's field. Letting go of that, freeing yourself of that, that stuff that you might be keeping in the attic for someday, someday down the road. Really check in with your heart and see if it's important to hold on to it. Because if it isn't, maybe it's time to circulate that back out into the world and let somebody else make use of it. And free yourself in the process, allowing more of your own life and light and energy to circulate in your own, to create space for light and life to circulate in your own experience. And simplify. Again, this idea of simplification. We make our lives very complicated in the Western world. So how do you do that? Well, you get rid of all the extraneous things, the extraneous thoughts, those books on your night table that you're probably not going to read. Maybe it's time to let them go. Unless you really want to and you're going to get to it someday, then put it on the shelf. But again, this idea of how are you freeing your consciousness? It's not just the physical, but it's your mind, it's your heart, it's your spirit. What's clogging you? Come back to simplicity and clarity and well-being. Support yourself in flowing as much as possible. Liberating yourself, creating that circulation of light and life and beauty. It'll make things so much better in your world. So this, my friends, is our card to grow in this week. And I hope it helps you a lot. It is a pleasure to read for you. I'm thinking of you all fondly, sending you much love and light wherever you are. Let's close with our prayer. Creator, this is your daughter Titania. I want to thank you for this opportunity to be of service to all those who are here and all those who will be listening in the future. I just ask for more love and light to pour into our hearts. Help us to distinguish where we are holding ourselves back. Help us to release those pieces that are holding us back so that we can move powerfully forward in our worlds with grace and ease and flow, elegantly and magnificently, co-creating with life in beautiful ways to facilitate this transition of humanity through the squeeze with love and kindness, compassion, knowing that we're all going through the same thing. We're all doing this together, and we will come out the other side victorious and successful and changed. Help us to be open to that change. Help us to know what it is that we need to do, personally and collectively. I want to thank all those who helped to hold the space today. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here, wherever you are, whatever's going on in your world. I want to thank you for doing your good work. I want to thank you for your good heart and your willingness to grow and change, become more than you were, because each of us embracing this aspect of our humanity is pushing us all forward more quickly and more efficiently and more beautifully. We're helping each other when we do our good work and we live well. So thank you for your good work. Much love and light. I look forward to seeing you next week. Be well. Take good care of yourself. Be kind. And, it's okay to take a pause and get out into nature. Breathe some salt air or some forest air. And just be. It's okay. Enjoy this time. Oh, and I wanted to mention one more thing. If you're having a hard time, if you're getting stuck in your feelings, it's a really important tool. I'm going to change this over here. Hang on. I almost forgot. I've been thinking about this for a while. I think I've mentioned EFT before, Emotional Freedom Technique. Emotional Freedom Technique is a powerful, powerful, easy to use tool that everybody can easily grab hold of. And what it is you're tapping through acupuncture points on the meridians, the energy meridians of the body. And as you tap through them and go through the process of EFT, which is, Brad Yates is my favorite EFT practitioner. But as you move through this and you say the statements and you go through this process of EFT, you're powerfully shifting. It's like you're peeling the layers of the onion of where you are emotionally. And so it's very, very, very helpful and very effective as a tool for cutting through the field of our feelings, especially when they get overwhelming. It's a great tool for just clearing, for pruning. What can I say? EFT is a phenomenal tool for pruning. I'm going to put the link underneath this video. As I said, my favorite EFT practitioner is Brad Yates. He is a man, a warrior of the feminine. I just love him. He is so clear, so kind, so compassionate. And he has hundreds and hundreds of tapping rounds on his YouTube channel, available for free. Start with the one that just resonates with where you are right now. And then, of course, because of the feed that comes up with YouTube, you'll see others that may also speak to you. And I personally will do like 2 or 3, sometimes 4. They're about 8 to 12 minutes long. And I'll do the ones that feel most relevant to me now. And I just tap through, and it's like just layers of emotion lifting. And so right here and right now on the planet, because this emotional piece is so important to our healing and our transformation collectively, I'm sharing this resource with you, and I hope that you will make use of it if you are going through a difficult time. As I said, I'll put the link below. And please, 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 I'll put the introductory link where he explains what it is that he does. Go and avail yourself of Brad's gift to life, because it's so tremendous, and it will help you. And as you are clear, you are in a much different place to be of service to those around you and to life through your gifts. It's a wicked thing. So thank you for letting me add that in. Again, much love and light. We'll see you next week. Take care.